Welcome to video 17 of our Forex trading training series brought to you by forexminute.com. This video is how to use the MACD when trading the Forex markets using technical analysis. As mentioned in the previous video, I don't plan to give you a history of indicators, and I don't plan to teach you how indicators are calculated. Instead, I'm going to teach you how to use indicators to trade the Forex markets, as I feel this is a lot more beneficial and a greater use of the time in these videos. The full name of the MACD is Moving Average Convergence Divergence. MACD is actually the acronym MACD. The MACD is used to identify new trends in financial markets and also a change of price direction. There are three settings on the MACD. The most commonly used settings are 12, 26 and 9, and they're the settings we will be using in this video. When you place a MACD on your price chart, generally the default setting is this 12, 26 and 9. So let's go to a price chart and let me demonstrate how to use the MACD to trade financial markets. On the screen I have a 4-hour chart of the pound against the US dollar. I have the MACD on the price chart. It's this indicator at the bottom of the chart down here. There are two parts to this MACD. There are these lines that are very similar to moving averages, and then in the background there's a histogram. We won't be focusing on the histogram in this video, but more so these moving average like lines. I've coloured the actual MACD line in green and then what we refer to as the signal line in red. When this MACD crosses and the green line or the MACD line is above the red line or signal line, that can act as a signal that price is going to move on the upside. When the signal line crosses the MACD line, the red above the green, that can act as a signal that price is going to move on the downside. So just to demonstrate the effectiveness of the MACD, let's mark these crosses and compare these MACD crosses to our actual price behavior on this 4-hour chart. So I'll mark these with vertical lines. So that's our first cross. I've marked this line as we have a cross here, and let's just go through and mark these crosses. It's important to mention that all indicators are not fail-proof. Indicators will give off false signals, and that's why it's important to just use indicators as a confirmation rather than as the single reason to open a trade. Okay, so I think we're about done. Let's just delete this last line. Okay, so we have a number of horizontal lines where the MACD has crossed. Here's our first cross. According to the MACD, we should see price fall on the downside, and it does. We then have a cross. The MACD or green line is above the signal line. Price should move on the upside, and it does. We have another cross. MACD cross, price should move on the upside, and it does. We have another cross here, price comes down. We have another cross here. This signals that price should move on the upside, but it doesn't really do much, it just moves sideways. So let's put an X here. Then we have a cross here. Price should move on the downside. and it does. Another cross, price should change direction, and it does. And then we have two crosses here. Price should move on the downside, and then this MACD moves above again. So we kind of get that price comes down and then shoots on the upside. A cross here. Price should move on the downside, and it does. Another cross here. Price should move on the upside, and it does. And then we have our final cross, and price does move on the downside. So out of all of those examples, we had one false signal, and we also had a bit of a confusing signal just here. So we could say we had two false signals. The MACD is not always this reliable, but in this example, it has been very reliable. So how can we use the MACD in our trading? As already suggested, any indicator should be used as a confirmation. So let's move to more recent price action. We had price move on the upside, and it came back down again. We had another move on the upside and came back down again. So we have this strong resistance on this 4-hour chart just here. It's marked with a black line. Let's zoom out a bit so you can see this better. Price then moved above this resistance, and this resistance now acts as support, as demonstrated here. We've come down and had a bounce. Price comes down a second time to test this support, and this time we're looking to trade and go long as price bounces on this support area. And to open a position, we're looking for price to come to the support, and then we're looking for a signal such as an engulfing candle or pin bar. And we're using our MACD as a confirmation. So price comes down to this support. Our support is right here. Price nearly touches the support, it's clearly rejected, and we have an engulfing candle. So we could actually go long there. You'll notice that our MACD is still signaling downside momentum, that price could continue to fall on the downside. The red or signal line is above the green or MACD line. Now if we hadn't used the MACD as a confirmation, it could be that we got stopped out as price continued to fall. We may have had a stop down here somewhere and got stopped out. If we are looking to use our MACD as a confirmation, then we wouldn't have opened a position and we wouldn't have got stopped out. You'll notice the MACD crosses here. This is our signal that price could now move on the upside. This is what we want. We then have this engulfing candle here, and price moves strongly on the upside. If we didn't get on that candle, there's also an engulfing candle here, and we have like a morning star signal with our MACD as a confirmation that price could move in an upwards direction. Let's go back to when we originally identified this area of support and resistance. So we had a push on the upside and a clear rejection. We could now mark this area as a potential resistance. When price does come on the upside again, we would be looking for some sort of signal to go short. We have a pin bar here that rejects the resistance, and our MACD agrees. It's showing possible downside movement. and price goes on the downside. Let's look at very recent price action. Let's go to the end of this chart. Okay, so here we are. Let's zoom out a bit so we can analyze price and what it is doing. Okay, price is downtrending. We have this push, a pullback, another push. Price has pulled back, and it looks like we're going for another push. We could mark these two highs. Like that. It could be that as price was coming up, we had joined these two highs as a potential area to go short. You'll notice price doesn't reach this trend or channel resistance and then starts to move on the downside. And you'll also notice that as price is moving up to this resistance, our MACD is above the signal or red line, signaling that price could move on the upside. We then have a cross right here, which is about this area. Let's make that more clear. It's around about here. So it could be that we start looking for a signal now that our MACD has confirmed that price is reversing, and we have a pin bar just here. Let's zoom in. And we could go short and price falls on the downside. We can also use the MACD to close positions. If we go back to this demonstration where price came down to this support, our MACD crossed and there was a bullish engulfing here or here. It could be that we hold this position until our MACD crosses and signals that price could change direction and move against our position. So if we open the position down here after our MACD confirmation and a bullish engulfing, we would have closed our position round about here, which is pretty much at the end of this big push to the upside. So on this occasion, the MACD would have been a great indicator to use as a signal to close a position. To summarize this video, the MACD is used to identify new trends or a change of price direction. The MACD can be used as a confirmation to open a position and also as a signal to close our position. Our next video is about Bollinger Bands. As always, thank you so much for watching this video. Please like, please subscribe, and please view more of our videos.